Hey guys, today we're going to talk about sine and cosine functions. This is not the ideal way that I wanted to teach you guys about this, but since we are on limited time, this is as good as it's going to get. So this is the sine function. I went into Desmos and I was able to graph it, and I don't know if you noticed, but some of these points come off of the unit circle, but the sine function is normally written with radians. So as you notice, the x-axis is radians, and the highest it goes to is 1 because of the unit circle. The sine function always starts at 0, 0. Now, if I erase the sine function and put the cosine function starts at 1, and then it goes down to 0 and then -1. Again, if we were to use the unit circle, we would be able to see where the graph comes from. I have this little video right here. Notice that this is going to be the unit circle right here, and let's play it. So you see, this is the sine function, and it's coming off the points of the unit circle. I don't know why it has that weird music, but that's just a quick demonstration to show you that the sine function is made on the unit from the unit circle. Now, I wanted to show you how to do the amplitude and the midline. Real quick before we can do that, the amplitude normally, as I change this graph, what do you notice happens to the graph? The graph gets bigger, it changes the opposite direction. The amplitude is technically the height of the graph. And then we also are going to talk about the midline. The midline is where the middle of the graph is. If the middle of the graph is at 1.5, that's where the midline's at. And that's going to make a little bit more sense in just a minute. So let's go ahead and do an example. From here it says, determine the amplitude of the following graph. The amplitude is going to be half the height of the graph. So if we're at 3 to -1, the height is 1, 2, 3, 4. The height is 4, and the amplitude is half of that. So the amplitude in this case is, and we type it in, there we go. Here is a visual of the amplitude. As you can see, we start from 3 and go to -1, and half of that is 2. So let's try another one. Here, determine the amplitude. Again, we got to find the height from the maximum point to the minimum. The maximum point is at 3. I'm looking at the y-axis. And the lowest point is at 1. So that has a height of 2. So if the height is 2, the amplitude is half of that, so the amplitude is 1. And so we... Alright, let's try one more just to make sure we got the hang of this. So here, we need to find it from the maximum to the minimum on the y-axis. So the maximum is at 2, and the lowest is -2. So from 2 to -2, that's 4 units. Therefore, the amplitude is 2, half of 4. And there we go. All right, another thing I wanted to show you was the midline. It says determine the equation of the midline for the following graph. The midline is literally what it sounds like, the middle line. So here we have to find the amplitude, and then we have to find the middle. And the line is going to be horizontal. So we got from 5 to -5. That's our maximum and our minimum on the y-axis. And the middle from 5 to -5, well, the whole thing is 10 units, so half of that is 5, which puts us right at the x-axis. The equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. Oops. So our midline is y equals 0 because it wanted an equation. Perfect. Let's go ahead and try another example. Again, determine the equation of the graph. So we need to find the middle of the graph on the y-axis. It goes from -2 to +4. That's 6 units. So we need to go halfway. 1, 2, 3. The middle of the graph is going to be right here at 1. And the equation of that line is going to be y equals 1. And there we go. Let's see if we can see it right here. Here's the line, the dotted line right here. It tells us that is the midline, y equals 1. Let's try one more just to make sure we got this Try this one on your own before I go over it. Alright, so I'm assuming you took the time to try it out, or pause the video if you need more time. So we are at 5 and then -3. The distance from -3 to +5 is 8 units. The middle of the line is going to be halfway of 8 units, so that's 4. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. The middle of this line is going to be y equals 1. Alright, so these were all sine and cosine functions. I hope I helped you learn how to find the midline and the amplitude visually on Deltamath. Let me know if you have any questions or send me an email. Have a great day.